welcome. This is Master Jason Purcell, and if you haven't met her yet, this is my wife and my partner.
Hi, I'm Instructor Marie Clement, and we are both the owners of Family Black Belt Academy, and we want to talk about how our stripe system works. This is how students progress and move up through the belt levels. Yes, you need to learn the kicks, punches, stance, blocks, and all of the physical things, but students also need to work on improving some mental traits as well.
All of us can work to improve on things in our lives. I'm currently working on not trying to spend as much time on my phone and trying to get more reading done. Parents, there are things I'm sure you're working on, and of course, there are things we want the students working on as well. These traits are either behavioral traits or life skills. Every belt level, we want you talking as a family to determine two specific things the student can be working on to be eligible for the belt test from their parents.
Parents, we ideally want you thinking about something the student can work on daily. It doesn't have to be, but it makes it easier to learn. Whatever you choose to work on, we want to preface it with words black belt. If you want the student working on their listening skills, well, then call it black belt listening. Or you can pick black belt responsibility and doing chores or cleaning the room. It could be black belt reading and having them do some extra reading. Or black belt respect, black belt monitoring time routine. It could be anything. Black belt broccoli.
Now parents, if you want some ideas for any other traits, we have a bunch of other options. We have another video where we get into that in more detail. Ideally, pick two traits they can be working on each and every single day. But what if there's something you want them working on that they can't do every single day? This is something else we're going to talk about in this additional video.
We use two sheets to help track all of this, every belt level. First, we have our laminated check sheet, which looks like this. We use this laminated sheet to give students their check marks every time they successfully accomplish one of their tasks. This laminated sheet, you can keep at home.
Then we have our behavioral trait / life skills worksheet, also just known as our worksheets. This sheet we use to identify what specifically we want the student doing in order to earn their check marks on the laminated sheet. On the front of the worksheets, you'll write down the student's name, then you'll write down the two traits you want the students working on. For example, let's say the student is working on black belt listening with their morning routine and black belt responsibility with cleaning their room. For trait number 1, after the black belt dash, you would write in listening. And for trait number 2, after the black belt dash, you would write responsibility.
Now below each of these traits, we want to write more specifically what the student has to do in order to earn their check marks. The more specific you can be on this, the easier it is for the student to know exactly what's expected of them. As a family, write this out together. Ask the student what they think they need to do to earn these check marks. With the example we are using for trait number 1, black belt listening, with the morning routine, parents could write up, first thing in the morning, when we come in to wake you up, you have 10 minutes to get out of bed. Brush your teeth, put on your clothes, and then come to the table for breakfast. If you can do all that in the amount of time, you earn your check marks on the laminated sheet.
For the second trait of the black belt responsibility, you could write down, every day, if you can spend 10 minutes picking up your toys and clothes, then you'll earn your black belt responsibility check mark. Now, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes. It could be 5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you prefer. But write this down. Then think about a good time of the day, maybe every day after dinner, for example, to remind them about this and say, okay, black belt responsibility. If you can clean your room, you'll earn your check marks. The point of this is to change the conversation from asking them to do something over and over and over again, nagging and nagging, do this, come on, do this, do this. No, instead, we're presenting it to them as an opportunity. Instead of, okay, put your things away. Okay, come on, put your things away. Okay, now it's, hey, you have a chance to earn a check mark. You're really close to earning your ribbon. Black belt responsibility.
We have our Family Black Belt Academy binders, and at the start of every new module, which is every 2 months, we will put in the students' new curriculum, which is what they will be learning for the next upcoming belt level. We will also put in a new worksheet. The worksheet is where you will put the information that you transfer from the laminated sheet. The laminated sheets you're going to keep at your home, and at the end of each module, you will simply erase them and then start again. But every new belt level, you will need a new worksheet to turn into us.
You will pick out the 2 traits you want the kid or kids working on, and those traits might be the exact same ones from the previous belt test that you had them working on. Some parents say, man, black belt listening worked great. Let's do that for the next year. Or you might keep the same trait but making it a little bit harder. You might say, okay, you got to do black belt listening with getting off your electronics, but now you can't complain about it. Or you can find a totally different thing for them to work on. You might pick a completely different task of black belt reading, or hey, your math grades are down. Let's work on black belt math and get your math homework up. The point is, write down the 2 traits, write out the description of what the student's working on, and then start keeping track of those check marks on the laminated sheet.
Let's look at the laminated sheet. Whatever the 2 traits you selected from the worksheet, you need to transfer and write these same 2 traits on the laminated sheet. Make sure not to mix up trait 1 and trait 2. With our example we used earlier, we would write trait 1 as black belt listening and trait 2 as black belt responsibility. Every day, if the students work on these things, you can give them a check mark. This means every day they could earn up to 2 check marks total. If they don't do as well, maybe they earn 1 check mark from one trait and not 1 for the other. Or they might have a rough day altogether and not earn any. Parents, use these check marks however you like. They are meant to be a tool to help with your parenting.
On a side note, if your kids are struggling with getting any of the check marks, then come and talk to us. Also, if your kids are doing fine with the check marks and struggling with something else, again, come and talk to us. It should be pretty obvious by now that our job at the studio, at the school here, is to not just help kids with their punches and kicks.
As the students are earning their check marks every day on the laminated sheet, once they have earned 10 check marks on one or possibly both of the traits, we now need to hear about this in the school. So the student can earn stripes on their belt and be recognized for their accomplishments. On the back of this sheet, you will see a layout similar to what you see on the laminated sheet.
Once a student has earned 10 check marks on one of their traits, and they could potentially earn 10 check marks on both traits at the same time, but once they earn 10 check marks on either trait, then get the worksheet, go to the back of it, and sign off on one of the boxes to show they have completed these 10 check marks.
Now the instructors at our school need to see what the student has accomplished. You can put the worksheet in the binder and have the student bring the binder to class to show one of the instructors. Or parents, you can take a picture on your phone and show one of us. Or you can simply tell us they have earned 10 check marks.
What we need to know is this for trait number 1 or trait number 2, and that matters because it's either going to be a blue or a gray stripe on their belt. Have they earned 10 check marks, 20, 30? This is always going to be in clumps of 10. And if you can't remember this, well, that's why you can bring the sheet in, or bring in the whole binder with that sheet, or just take a picture.
When we do the belt test at the end of our module, at the end of our 2 months, now we need the completed worksheet. You will keep the laminated sheet at home, but put the completed worksheet in the binder and have the student turn in the binder to us. This way we can see what the student completed for the module. And now we will give them their new curriculum for the next belt level, as well as a brand new worksheet you can have them start on.
In the class, the instructors will say, okay, everybody, it looks like Timmy, or whomever it is, has earned 10 check marks for black belt listening. They're earning a stripe today. Everybody guys give them a hand. And now everybody's clapping and cheering for them. This is positive social reinforcement, which helps build their confidence and is going to make it a lot easier for them to do whatever you want them working on the next time. Now, parents, this is probably the most difficult thing about the check marks, and that is keeping up with the check marks, okay? That might sound a little bit funny, but this is what I mean. You might have your kid working on black belt listening, and you go to the grocery store, and they listen to you the first time, which is amazing, that's wonderful, but you don't have the laminated sheet on you. You can't give them a check mark right then and there.
Or you have a very long and stressful day and you simply forget to remind your kid to do their black belt responsibility and clean their room, and several days go by and you never give them a check mark.
We completely understand that life can get complicated. But here's the thing, 99.99999% of our students want to earn these check marks. They might rumble a bit about it, but they want these check marks. And here's the thing, this is an investment. Again, I understand Life can get in the way. You just forget about it. You forget to remind your kids about doing this. Maybe it's the black belt responsibility in cleaning their room or whatever it is you're having them work on. This is time consuming. But if you can have them work on these check marks, for instance, work on cleaning their room every single day after day, week after week, month after month, after a while, they'll just start doing this naturally. It becomes a habit. It becomes a part of who they are. Eventually, they get this trait down. You don't have to tell them to do this thing anymore. Or you don't have to fight with them to do this thing. Or you don't have to do this thing with them to make sure they do it. And look, there are some things that each of us might struggle with for the rest of our lives. But there are a lot of things that we can make improvements on. Okay, I'm kind of joking about this, but I'm also kind of being serious. This could literally be one of the best investments you ever make in your life. Okay, the question is, do you want to spend a lot of time up front with this, or do you want to spend a lot of time over the rest of their life and then some to keep working on it over and over and over again?
We recommend parents that you pick a specific time of the day to go over the check sheet with your kids. If you are having them work on black belt listening with putting their shoes and socks on to get out the door in the morning, keep the laminated check mark sheet by the front door. If you're having them do black belt responsibility, maybe remind them about this every day after dinner and bring the laminated sheet to the dinner table.
Or every night when they go to bed, have the laminated sheet hanging on the wall next to their bed and review how things went. Parents, you could set an alarm on your phone of when you all want to go over the check marks for the day. Again, we completely understand how life can get in the way, but these check marks work wonders. The kids are very motivated to earn their new belts, the ribbons, the medals, the trophies, the new uniform, all of that. Make use of that. And if you get off track, no worries. You can always get back on track. Or if you want some help, come and talk to us and we can help you with this.
For every 10 check marks for trait number 1, they will earn a blue stripe. For every 10 check marks on trait number 2, they will earn a gray stripe. Every module, which again is 2 months long, students can earn up to 50 check marks for each trait. This means they can earn up to 5 blue stripes and 5 gray stripes by the end of every belt level.
That being said, they don't have to earn all these stripes, but they do have to earn at least 1 blue and 1 gray stripe. This means they must earn 10 check marks for trait number 1 and 10 check marks for trait number 2. These are part of the requirements for every belt level. You have to show us over a period of 2 months that you have made some minimum progress with this. After the student has earned each of these stripes for each of these traits, then anything additional is simply extra credit.
If the student earns 20 check marks, which would be 2 stripes on their belt, then they would earn a ribbon. If they earn 30 check marks and thus 3 stripes, instead of a ribbon, they would earn a primary medal. If they get up to 40 check marks and 4 stripes, this is simply extra credit. But if they can get up to 50 check marks and 5 stripes, then they would earn one of the primary medals and an extra credit medal.
Of course, you can do this with 2 of the traits. So students could earn 2 ribbons if they earned 20 check marks on both of the traits. Or they could earn 2 of the primary medals every module. Every primary medal is different and unique. And when you earn 10 of these primary medals, you earn a trophy. Then you start on your next set of primary medals, and after another 10, you earn the second trophy, which is bigger than the last one. This keeps happening until you get your 5th trophy, which is literally 6 feet tall.
And by the way, parents, we also have an option for a smaller, really cool trophy that doesn't take up as much space if you don't have the room for it in your home. Also, the extra credit medals don't count towards any of the trophies. It's just the primary medals that count.
Every belt level, every module, every 2 months, we're going to be working on 2 traits. If we're constantly working to improve on things in our life, day by day, week after week, month after month, year after year, imagine how much the student is going to learn, is going to gain, is going to grow by the time they're testing for their black belt.
Remember, we are here to help. We are a team. Think about the 2 traits you want your kid or kids working on. If you want to see what some of the other options are for different traits, check out our other video on that. Thank you so much for your time.
And as always, we'll see you on the mats. Take care.